Hello, and you're listening to Listen to Local with Adam Velo, and I'm Adam Velo, and today we have a guest from the Cardboard Cutouts, which are a Toowoomba-based band. Initially, we were going to do an interview with actual Cardboard Cutouts, but that conversation wasn't particularly fascinating, so instead we got Eliot from the band Cardboard Cutouts. Welcome to
Thanks so much for having me, Adam.
Appreciate having you on today. We're here to obviously talk about your album, which is Politics and Footy Tips, as well as your tour that just completed recently. But yeah,
Yeah.
Politics and Footy Tips as a whole represents the Aussie spirit and larrikinism, which you can hear all the way from, the vocals having a heavy dose of the accent to writing that represents the many facets and feelings of the average Australian. Why do you think it's important for your band to be able to capture this in your music?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know if it's something that we deliberately try and like capture in our music. I think it comes out quite naturally.
Yeah.
I just think that I think Australia and the Australian people are just a funny breed.
Mm.
Um, taking, and I suppose it's the same around the world, but you know, I think we often see people taking footy tips and politics quite hand in hand with the
Yeah.
same amount of seriousness, and I just think that sort of that juxtaposition is just really interesting. Um, and I think that it is a big part of, like for me, it's a big part of being Australian. It's a big
Mm.
part of how I grew up, I suppose. Being a kid and having the footy on and,
Yeah.
dad and my granddad talking about politics. And I didn't understand any of that.
Yeah.
But, it's, yeah, that just feels like home to me. And I think having kind of that connection with the album as well, like it was kind of like, hard in our sleeve, just yeah, put it out there and represent who we are and who I am as the lyricist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, observational work around all the culture and growing up as Australian throughout and anyone can
Mm.
probably relate depending on the age group and
Yeah, yeah.
and the fact that throughout the sound as well is able to represent a uniquely Australian sound and all that it's
Mm.
wonderful. But
Oh,
the
thanks.
opening track on it is Dishy, which
Yeah.
feels like an emotional outburst of Angie of representing the grind it takes to make dreams happen. Does it
Hmm.
feel special having spent the time collectively chasing that with your high school band, even, when the struggle is real in moments?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that I don't think anyone goes into music or art, not expecting to do that grind.
Mm,
But I think from the outside perspective, looking in, I think that musicians and artists are often, associated with luck, or,
mm,
that's such a dream job, or such a thing that just comes super naturally, and things just kind of snowball into this great and amazing thing. But I think that people are often misled by that.
mm,
And it's very similar to working a job in hospitality as a dishy. Like you need to be on it and you need to grind, and sometimes it sucks, but at the end of the day, like we're playing music and we're writing music with, like, our family. Like they're,
yeah,
the boys are my best mates, and it's a very sort of similar environment to, like, a good kitchen. It
mm,
might be the worst service that you've ever delivered, or everything can be going wrong, but at the end of the night, everyone sits down and has a beer
mm,
and chats it out, and kind of, that is that kind of sense of community, like, and sense of kinship and family that we have. So yeah, I think that makes the grind a lot easier and bearable, and can cope with it, because it's I've known the guys and we've known each other for a long time, and
Mm.
so it feels quite special, really.
Yeah. So would you feel like it would be like an even harder grind if you were like a single musician, for example, compared to being with the boys and being able to, yeah, share ideas that you know each other so closely?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that being a solo artist is a whole other kettle of fish.
Mm.
I think that having, in some ways, like you've got a lot of creative freedom because you
Mm.
can make the music that you want to make, and everything that you make is how you want it. But and sometimes that's really great. But when you're working with other people, it's having everybody's ideas like intertwined into the song. So like for politics and footy tips and the rest of our discography, like I wrote most of those songs on an acoustic guitar, but I
Mm.
wouldn't say that I necessarily wrote those songs like that. Everybody has their own parts of those songs that like you make that song uniquely identifiable to each of us.
Yep.
And I think having that is really special, and being able to share that piece of art with other, you know, with our best mates,
Mm.
as opposed to doing that like by yourself, could feel quite isolating, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure, and
Mm.
yeah, obviously the crowds always take to this work and the stories of being able to
Mm.
yeah be a collaborative idea, and yeah, it's wonderful to see band culture in Australia.
Yeah.
Your which I
Yeah.
guess leads us to another single of yours, which is My Best Friend, which aired
Mm.
on Rage earlier this year. What was
Yeah.
your reaction when you got that message in your inbox about it?
Yeah, that was like probably one of the most, insane things for us
Mm.
to have that pop up and be like, okay, you're getting played on Rage like a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like I think, you ask anyone, you ask most people about Rage, and I think everyone's got very, very different memories, but like everybody knows Rage, and it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things that might not be in people's conscience, but like or you ask a random person walking down the street and they've got a rage memory, like getting up
Mm.
super early and chucking on the TV or late at night.
Yeah.
Like it is such a big part of.
Before we had this technical issue that we
Yeah.
had to swap out the computer for the iPhone, I asked you
Uh,
the question about your other single, My Best Friend, which aired on Rage earlier this year. What was your reaction to getting the message in your inbox about it?
yeah, it was pretty surreal. I think we were all very shocked. We definitely weren't expecting a rage play. Like, um, particularly like that song and that film clip we filmed at Rowan's house. So Rowan plays drums in the band.
Yeah.
We filmed that in a day, and we
Mm.
like built sock puppets and built a set and like did the whole thing. And Harrison filmed it for us, our lovely manager.
Yep.
And yeah, it was just so cool to see something that was so like it was so DIY. Like we had like our friends there, like Flavia, who's Rowan's partner, and
Mm.
and Tristan, who like comes to all of our shows. He was helping out as well, and it was just so yeah, it was just so cool to see like see us get played on Rage and have like the Rage like intro and then that song coming in.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was just yeah, we were all absolutely flabbergasted. Like we just, yeah, could not believe it. And
Yeah.
still kind of can't believe it now. Like, yeah, it's just so wild.
Well, I mean, it's definitely deserving for all of you to be able to get that. And I mean, obviously, yeah, Rage being such an institution for Australian music for so many years, and I mean,
Yeah.
one of the only television shows that represent Australian music and music in general
Mm,
for
yeah,
yeah, for television at the moment. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So what do you reckon it was about that music clip in particular? Of course, the DIY aspect you touched
Mm.
on there, but what do you think it was that, piqued the interest of so many people to check out this music video?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm not 100% sure. Like
Mm.
it was I think it really is that like DIY nature
Mm.
of of the video and like I don't know, I think that puppet videos need a comeback. I
Yeah.
feel like there used to be a lot of puppet videos
Mm.
or like just weird wacky music videos that aren't using like computer generated effects and that sort of stuff like
Yeah.
um and not that we used effects but like puppets. It was fun, it was cool, it
Mm.
was cute. I don't know, I yeah, I think it was a cool idea and yeah, I guess other people did as well and it was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, so many people checked out. Obviously, got played on Rage,
Yeah.
and yeah, of course, you had your successful tour from afterwards. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, you off the back of touring that, in a 12
Mhm.
date national tour. What were some of your highlights you enjoyed from playing, in front of the crowds you were there with?
Yeah. Oh, look, there are so many highlights. Uh, it's hard to kind of like pick one, but like I think in terms of like our shows, like one of my favorite shows that we played was Townsville.
Mm.
We flew up to Townsville. None of us know anyone that lives in Townsville.
Yeah.
We just kind of went, okay, let's play Townsville. Why not? And we had such a lovely reception, and the other bands that we played with were fantastic.
Mm.
We had people travel from Cairns to come see us, which is like a 4.5 hour drive. Like
Yeah.
people were singing the songs, and it was kind of like one of the first moments on the tour where we went, we're nowhere near home, and our songs and our music are resonating with people. Like
Mm.
we had people singing, um, you know, singing and screaming lyrics at us,
Yeah.
which we've had before, but usually it's our friends,
Yeah.
um, and that makes things a little bit less daunting. But when you're standing up and you start playing in front of a room where you absolutely know no one, and
Mm.
it's just you and the band and our music, it's pretty special to see that people connect with that, and it
Yeah.
makes it a whole lot less daunting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
No.
think that yeah, just being able to like the wonderful people we met along the way as well, and some of the bands that we toured with are just like the loveliest people and make the best music, and just like you'd want to be best mates with all of these people because
Yeah.
they're yeah, super super lucky.
Yeah, yeah. The Australian music community is always so close to each other, and willing to give so many
Mm,
people different shots. Like when you have them all come together and lift you up, it's so exciting to see.
mm.
And yeah, yeah. Do you feel any differences from playing, in your regional hometown of Toowoomba and the energy that's in more of a capital city national show?
Yeah, it's very different. It's very different. um I think Toowoomba has quite a small, tight-knit
Mm.
music community. Um, and in terms of like live, like original bands and original artists, I think that where we sit is kind of like there aren't too many other bands that are doing similar stuff.
Mm.
Um, and so I think, in Toowoomba, it's quite an exciting thing for us to come back home and like our mates like, come out to shows and people that we, went to school with and that
Mm.
sort of thing. And then also just the regular people that are like, hell yeah, we've got live music. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in Brisbane, it is a little bit more competitive because on
Mm.
any given night, you can be playing a show and, two doors down, there's another fantastic, amazing band playing. And then across the road, there's another one. And it's just like all of this awesome music crammed into like one spot.
Yeah.
Whereas Toowoomba has a whole bunch of awesome music, but like generally there aren't too many like clashes with stuff. So like
Mm.
if you've got a date and you've got a venue like for original music, generally there's not going to be another original music thing happening that week in that sort of
Yeah.
scene. So it's yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's funny about finding your space and your purpose in those places, and yeah,
Mm.
obviously fascinating to see the difference. But yeah, speaking of Brisbane in particular, you've booked in a support show with Susie, Sam,
Yes.
but it started all the way back in May with the process of it. How did it all come together?
Yeah, so yeah, that's super excited for that show. It's I think it might be next week, so 4th of October at
Mm.
Black Bear. And yeah, like I've been a fan of Susie for a long time. I think like a lot of people in the Aussie music scene kind of discovered her during COVID.
Yeah.
She started posting TikToks and stuff. Um, and yeah, I've really enjoyed her stuff for a long time. And at the start of this year, or the end of last year, she released Centrelink Summer,
Yeah.
which I heard on Triple J. I'm like, man, this song's awesome. Whoa, this is Susie. I didn't realize like um, I kind of had this idea that she kind of just did like solo acousticy things and that sort of stuff. And so yeah, did a bit of a deep dive and I recorded a cover of Centrelink Summer and chucked that on my Instagram and yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun and yeah, Susie hit us up and went, "Hey, I'm coming to Brisbane. Do you guys want to open?" So yeah, we're really looking forward to that, and also looking forward to seeing Worm Girls, who are
Yeah.
playing like they're the main support that night. Who yeah, I haven't seen before, but have been familiar with for a little while. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be cool to connect with other local musos that are killing it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Susie and Worm Girls, who I know
yeah,
my audience are massive fans of as well.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
That's awesome.
an awesome opportunity. But when you're on the roads as a band, who's the person that gets in control of the playlist?
Oh, okay. That's a really interesting question. We asked this question as well to lots of other bands that we
Yeah,
know that tour, and we're very methodical about it. I don't know if that's just to kind of mitigate any disagreements or if it's some neurodivergence coming out in us, but we pick we each get an album
okay.
and we rotate. So
Yep.
we don't listen to playlists, we just listen to albums.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I will pick an album, and then Campbell will pick an album, Seb
Yeah.
will pick one, Rowan will pick one, and then when Harrison's with us, he'll pick one, and we just rotate through albums,
Yeah.
um, which is so much fun. Like I love it because we all listen to very very different music,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've discovered some really cool music just um, from that exercise and
Yeah.
also listen to a lot of stuff. I'm like, man, I don't really know how you like this, but I appreciate that you do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know how many times on road trips we end up listening to Nickelback, and I'm like, Campbell, I feel like you're doing this out of spite. Not that there's anything wrong with Nickelback, but like,
No.
there's only so much you can take before it's,
Yeah.
you know.
Meanwhile, you could listen to politics and footy tips on repeat. Also,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I love the support the band gets is through, the platform of community radio stations and opportunities that
Mm,
you get through that. What do you
yeah.
think the role of community radio is within the broad sense of the country?
I think that it plays a massive role. I think that it's super important for community radio to exist and to support local artists and really be the hub of the scene. Like, in Brisbane, you've got 4ZZZ that do incredible stuff all the time, and I think they're like completely volunteer run.
Yep.
They have music 24/7. They get artists in. One of my favorite of their programs is Right Here, Right Now.
Yep.
We got the opportunity to go on that earlier in the year.
Mm.
It's like a Tuesday afternoon, and they'll get a local band in to do a live set.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, we've done live things on radio before where it's been like, just like a microphone and you do your thing, but like they've got like a little studio in there.
Yeah.
I think Ballpark Music were on it yesterday, who were like,
Yeah.
not yesterday, but like earlier this week, who are massive supporters of local music. But
Yeah.
I think that community radio is just it's such a stepping stone for a band. Like
Mm.
I remember the first time we got played on radio and be like, whoa, like I just turned on a frequency in my car and that was my music playing back at me. And
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with that. Someone picked that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's really special.
Yeah. Do you feel more daunted when you're in positions like that where you are in a studio but like playing to no one or playing to a an audience but you can't see
You
the
can
audience, like compared to a
Yeah.
physical audience?
Yeah, it is really weird actually. It's so bizarre. And when we did that actually, it wasn't the whole band. It was just me and Rowan.
Yeah.
Because the other guys couldn't make it, so it was like extra, just a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Um, but it's bizarre being like playing and knowing that you're live on air, they're not recording it, to then be played and go like, oh, I bet there's someone sitting in traffic on the Story Bridge and they're listening to this and they're you know wanting to get home, but they're stuck listening to me yell into a microphone. It's really interesting.
No, I've been whenever we have opportunities like that, I genuinely appreciate hearing all these uh, bands that pop up on community radio, and I've always
Yeah,
encouraged community radio. Um,
yeah,
and as well, you were nominated as a finalist in the 2025 Unsigned Only Music Awards. Ultimately,
yeah.
compatriot Felony took out the prize. But what was it like to be nominated for an internationally available award?
Yeah, that was really strange. It was really strange. Uh yeah, I don't even know how that came up. And yeah, someone sent something into the group chat going like, "Oh my God, we're finalists in this competition." And we're like, "Oh, sweet. That's
Yeah,
awesome." And then like it was so cool looking through the like through who the finalists were for that category and seeing like Felony, who are another Brizzy based band, and
yeah,
Radium Dolls, who I think are Brizzy based or Southeast Queensland based, and being like, wow, we're in such good company. Like it was so good. And like, a Felony like absolutely deserve, all of the accolades they can get
yeah,
there. They're absolutely fantastic.
yeah,
So yeah, we were just stoked to be there.
yeah, yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of talent coming out of Queensland right now, and it's wonderful to
absolutely.
see. Um, but yeah, yeah, obviously we've spoken about about politics and footy tips a couple of times, but like
Mm.
we haven't got like the origin story for it. So
Yeah.
what would you like to expand on the original origin of the concept of what you put out? Yeah.
Yeah. I think Politics and Footy is like it was definitely like an album that kind of grew over time.
Mm,
Um, it definitely wasn't. We always wanted to record an album, but we weren't like, okay, let's write an album.
mm,
There were lots of songs that we'd kind of written and kind of put them away, um, being like, okay, maybe this could be a later project thing. This isn't right, really where we are right now, but we want to get there.
yep.
Um, and so yeah, it's kind of like a conglomeration of like points in time through like my um, my life and my early adulthood. Um, and so each song kind of has like a little bit of part of me in there, and like when I play them, like I see specific places and
Mm,
um, points in my life that were difficult or you know formative points in my life.
yeah.
Um, and so that song kind of comes from that line, sorry, politics and footy tips. came from Better Voice, which is the last track on the album.
Yep.
Um, which is kind of one of those, it's a track about, wanting to be better for you so you can help someone else. And
Mm.
I think kind of carries out that theme kind of carries itself through the album of like, self-help, helping yourself, helping others, that sort of thing. Um, it's kind of hard to put an origin story to the album itself, but
Mm.
it's yeah, it's politics and footy tips. It doesn't make any sense. Like that phrase doesn't make any sense. It's a huge juxtaposition of two very different worlds.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel,
Mm.
stuck somewhere in the middle between two worlds of, of life. So yeah,
Yeah. And I think many can relate to that in between feeling as well. But
yeah.
yes, of course, considering the name and considering we're quite deep into September, it would be amiss to not for me to not ask the question, but who's your footy tips for who's winning the running?
Yeah, awesome. I love this question. And it changes depending on who asks it. But when we refer, and it's actually been really interesting because when we've been going like Melbourne and people are like, oh, footy tips. We're from Queensland, like
Yeah,
we watch the NRL. Well,
of
me and
course.
me and Campbell do. The other boys, not so much.
Yeah,
Um, but Brisbane Broncos,
yeah,
I'm a Bronx supporter. I have been since I was a kid.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I reckon they're gonna. I hope they're gonna take out the grand final this year.
Yep.
And Brisbane Lions are in the grand final for the AFL as well. So
Yeah.
it's a good year to be a Brisbaneite.
Yeah, yeah, Queensland right on top with all the sports at the moment. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And finally, though, where would our listeners, go to learn more about your personal band? Obviously, Cardboard Cutouts.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, Look, and anywhere you get your media,
Mm.
Facebook, Instagram, um, keep up to date with us there. Chuck us a follow. And then if you want to hear our music, anywhere that you stream your music, you'll be able to find it. Um, and Bandcamp is awesome. If you don't know Bandcamp, get a Bandcamp account and start buying people's music because that's how you support local artists. And a little bit more than just streaming it.
Yeah,
It's 0.002 cents or whatever is great per stream, but sometimes a dollar is great as well.
yeah,
And you
yes.
get to keep it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
ultimate thing. It's yeah. I mean, advantage for both the artist and yourself for
And the
being able
consumer.
to
Yeah, yeah,
continue to yeah. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, but although. Is there still any availability of the Google Sleepwell? That's my main question
Oh,
today.
that's a deep cut. That's fantastic. Um, no, that is not, but I think we could sort that out. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, so that's not available on Bandcamp, but all your music is.
Yeah, yeah, not the Google sleep well.
Well, thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, and yeah, hope to see you at a gig sometime soon. Yeah.
No dramas. Thanks so much for having me, Adam. I really appreciate it.